Hey, for all the authors that are listening out there, I wanted to share with you this great email that we received here at the Reading with Your Kids podcast from Dr. Linda Mubarak. She is a past guest and the author of Maxine's New Job. Here's the email. Dear Fatima and Jed, good news! Maxine's New Job has been nominated to receive the prestigious Henri Award at the 2018 Christian Literacy Awards for Outstanding Literacy Work in the Children's Book Division. I sincerely believe your certifying Maxine as a great read helped bring increased social media attention to the book. Thank you for the exposure and the great marketing. We are so happy for Dr. Linda Mubarak that her book, Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read, Maxine's New Job, received this prestigious recognition. We would love to help your book receive that same kind of recognition. If you are interested in having your book considered for our Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read program, please visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com. You can click on the contact button, send us a note, and we'll send all the information back to you, or you can go right to our Certified Great Read page on our website. It's fun, it's easy, and it is really an effective way to let the world know that your book stands out above all the rest. The Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read program.
Reading with Your Kids.
Hey, so great to see you. Come on in. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, wherever you find your podcast. Today, we are going to the great state of Arizona to interview the author of The Tiniest Little Star. Her name is Cynthia Jensen. Cynthia, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. I'm so happy that you're here. I can't wait for you to tell us all about The Tiniest Little Star.
Well, I'm excited too. So let me tell you, it's a sweet little book, pretty simple and short, but it's all about learning to be kind to others and learning to love yourself.
Two really important things, and those are two things that I think people just assume that we learn, that we're born with. That we come out of the womb, and we know that we're supposed to love ourselves. We know we're supposed to be kind, but that's not the case. We come out of the womb, and we're self-centered, and we're terrified, and it's like the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. I remember, even starting in elementary school, I was very shy and really didn't have a very high self-esteem at all, and was very self-conscious. And I think that that's part of the reason I thought to write this book, because I think I felt a little bit like the tiniest little star.
Wow, and that memory stuck with you. I mean, you're not anywhere near as old as I am, but you're certainly, it's been a while since you've been in elementary school.
Yeah, for sure. And, and it's interesting because now I was an art teacher at an elementary school for a little while. And then, I'm a mom, and I'm actually now a grandma. And, as I've kind of gone through my life a little bit, I've recognized that so many people don't realize just how amazing they are, and that they've got wonderful gifts and talents, and they just haven't recognized them or discovered them yet. And so The Tiniest Little Star is just all about a little star that can't shine very bright, and she's smaller than the other stars. And so she goes to her mother, which I think is a wonderful thing. She goes to her mom, and she expresses to her mom how she's feeling. And her mom tells her that she's just right, and that she was made the way that she was for a reason. And throughout the story, that theme is kind of reinforced throughout the story, and she learns that she is okay the way she is, and that she's great. And in turn, she goes and she befriends another little star that's also different.
Really, really cool. You know, I'm not all that tall myself, but I think I had my growth spurt in like second grade, so I never noticed being short until I was in high school, and then it was kind of okay. But that being short of stature, I mean, kids really notice that at a really young age.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And you can really feel self-conscious about it. And personally, you know, I think part of the reason that I was so shy and I kind of withdrew was because I had a hard time reading. And I had a hard time spelling. Those were things that were difficult for me. And because of that, I was made fun of. And I think so many children are teased and are made fun of for their different, you know, for their differences, whether it be the way we look or, you know, the way we read or whatever it may be. And I think it's so important for every child to understand that they're just right, just the way they are, and they're important and they're loved. And I think it's so good also for other children to recognize that it's okay that some kids are different.
That's something that we've talked a lot about here on the podcast. So many authors come on and they talk about, I wrote this book to reach a certain kid, to let kids know that if they're of a different race, if they speak a different language, if they have different abilities, that they're okay. But I think it is just as important, if not more important, that the quote-unquote typical kids see kids who are different in the pages of books so that they can relate. And so a lot of their questions can be answered because I think we're taught at a very young age not to question. You know, if we see somebody that's different, that it's rude to ask a question. And unfortunately, that curiosity a lot of times turns into meanness, you know. Kids are told, don't ask that question, it's rude, and then they don't hear, yeah, but don't make fun of that person either.
Right, and kids are just so honest and so curious, and they just need to learn. You know, if no one ever teaches them from a young age, how are they supposed to know? They don't, you know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. So this is your debut book, is that right?
It is, yeah.
How was that experience when you first received that author copy at home?
Oh, my goodness. It was so exciting. I got a box in the mail, and it had, I don't know, I think it had 20 books in it. And I just was thrilled beyond belief because, you know, writing a book is not as easy as you would maybe think. I don't know, maybe people don't think it's easy, but it's not. I wrote and illustrated The Tiniest Little Star, and writing it maybe took me a day. And of course there was the editing and all of that kind of thing that goes on with it as well. But the actual sitting down and receiving the inspiration for it was quick. It just kind of came to me. But then I realized after I had this story written that I wanted to share with everyone that I needed to illustrate it. And I've been an artist my entire life. And I knew that I needed to be the one that painted the illustrations for it so that I could get what I was seeing in my mind out to the children that would read it. So it actually took me about 2 years from the time I wrote it till the time I published it. Most of that time was just doing illustrations. So, and granted, I'm probably kind of slow. I'm sure there are people that can do it a lot faster than me, but with it being my first book, it took me a while. So, anyway, it was an adventure, and I've learned so much, and I'm really excited to do some more books.
That's wonderful. Now, you mentioned earlier on that you were an art teacher. Arts are one of those subjects in schools that's the first, you know, anytime that there's a budget cut, you know, they look at art, they look at music, then they look at phys ed. Talk about
Yeah,
please.
it's kind of the first thing that goes.
How important is it for you, in your mind, that kids have an exposure to the arts in school?
Oh, I think it's so important. The thing is it really, it helps us delve into our creativity, which can help our self-confidence tremendously. I know as a child, like I said, I didn't have a lot of self-confidence. And then I got into junior high, and my first year in junior high school, I took an art class. And, this art teacher said to me, she said, you're really good at this. And I thought, and it was just that one sentence, boy, you're really good at this. And I thought, maybe this is something I could do. And then the next year I took art again. And I had a teacher that had faith in me and that told me I was good and that I had potential. And before you know it, my self-esteem was growing and growing. And it's been something that I have loved and enjoyed my entire life. Thanks so much to those teachers that taught me along the way that I was good at something.
You're absolutely right. One person making one comment can make all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
And one of the great thing, I'm glad that you're sharing that message, because what I would love for parents to do is to think back and to think about that one person in their lives that said that one sentence, or the 2 or 3 people in their lives that said that one sentence that made a big difference, and share that experience with your kids. Because who knows, your kids may be the one that says that one sentence to a shy, unconfident kid in their classroom that's going to make all the difference in their life.
Yeah, in their whole life. It is so true. It's really, truly amazing.
Yeah. Now, did you always dream about being a children's author or illustrating children's books?
I've actually thought of it off and on throughout my life. I have been, really focused on my art a lot. I've loved writing, but I didn't really know where to start. I think that there's kind of been a door that has opened up for writers, that wasn't open before, with being able to self-publish and not having to rely on someone else. And so, although I've thought about it a lot of times, I never really, thought it was possible for me. I just thought, I won't get picked up. I won't, I maybe didn't have the confidence that I needed, but with the way, technology has gone and such, I really started recognizing that this was something that I could possibly do. I met a wonderful children's book author a couple of years ago, just before I wrote The Tiniest Little Star. In fact, I met an author that had written and illustrated her own children's book. And she read me her story and kind of told me about what she had done to get her book published. And as I read her story, it was so inspiring. And just the message, and I thought, if you could share this kind of a message with children, what kind of difference can you have in their lives? And so I came home and sat down and started writing.
It sounds like that children's author was kind of like the people who gave you that one sentence when you were a kid.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. And I think we all need people like that in our lives, whether it's our parents or, just someone that you can look up to, someone that's done something that you feel like is hard and maybe has that confidence in you and says, go for your dreams, go for what you really want. If there's something that you want, go for it. Don't hold back, because you can make things happen in your life if you really want to.
And what a great reminder to us that, I think there's a lot of times when we see somebody that's a little bit down and we think, maybe I can, cheer them up, encourage them a little bit. And oftentimes we don't take that opportunity because we're like, oh, well, they don't want to hear from me and whatever. I hope someone hearing this interview comes away from it thinking not only that I should add the Tiniest Little Star to my family library, but also is inspired the next time that they feel like, gee, I want to encourage this person, that they go for it and share what it is they're feeling.
That is so right. That is so true. I hope that is what happens as well.
You know, I was on your website, and it's a great website, but one of the things that caught me is you have a quote there from Mother Teresa. There are no great things, only great love. Happy are those. Talk a little bit about that quote and why you decided to feature it so prominently on your website.
Because, I think that, all of us, I believe, are trying to be good. We're all trying to make a difference in this world, I think. And, honestly, I think the main way that we make a difference in other people's lives is by loving them. And just by showing that love. If you hold back, then it's like you said, some of those people may not hear those words of kindness that they need to hear, or those words of encouragement that they need to hear. But when we put ourselves out there and we're ready and able to love others, then we can make a difference in their lives, just like Mother Teresa did.
Yeah. You've been out visiting school early on before the pandemic shut down school visits. I know you were out and reading the books to kids. What kind of reaction did you get from kids who either heard you reading it or read the book themselves?
Oh my goodness, it was such a joy. I went to a couple of elementary schools. I had a book reading or a book signing, and the response was wonderful. The kids are just so full of joy and happiness, and they're so eager to learn and they wanted to know how I wrote it and how I illustrated it, how I published it, all the details. And, they really understood the message, which was the most important thing to me. After I read the story and as we talked about the deeper meaning about loving yourself and loving those around you and being kind to everyone, they just totally got it. And I think it's just such a testament to how good children are, how honest and good they are. And they want to do the right thing if they're just taught the right way to do it.
Yeah. What a great message for little kids, but also what a great message for teens and tweens,
For sure. Yeah. Everyone can benefit from the message in this book. Definitely.
Yeah. I'm thinking this would be, we love celebrating families reading together. I think this would be a fantastic book for an older sibling to read to their younger sibling, or for a parent with kids of varying ages, to make sure that they just don't read this book to their 4 or 5-year-old, that they call their 10-year-old in, they call their 15-year-old in, and they read it together, because I think this is just a great message for people of all ages.
I agree. So I'll tell you a little story. Just after I published it, I was at my some relatives' home. And after I left, I have a relative who's 18, and she called me she texted me actually, and she said, "I just wanted to say thank you for your book." She said, "I had tears in my eyes as I read it to my little sister." So this 18-year-old girl, it touched her in a way that even brought that understanding to her heart. And because I think that even as adults, we all sometimes feel maybe a little inadequate. And this book teaches us that, that we're all we're all special and we're all important and that we can all accomplish great things.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you corrected yourself, because at first when you were telling me an 18-year-old called you, I said, no way, no way. 18-year-olds don't make phone calls. They text. So I buy the story right now.
That's the first thing that pops into my mind, because that's how I communicate.
Well, we want to know, where can folks connect with Cynthia Jensen and learn more about the Tiniest Little Star?
Okay, well, my Tiniest Little Star book is on Amazon.com and also BarnesandNoble.com, and a few miscellaneous other sites out there. I have a Facebook page. It's Cynthia Jensen Books. Jensen is Jensen. Cynthia Jensen Books. And then my website is CynthiaJensenBooks.com.
Now, you mentioned that you've caught the writing bug, and there are more books coming from Cynthia Jensen in the future. Is there a way you can give us a preview, perhaps?
Well, maybe. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too much, but I do have a new book that's going to be coming out, and it talks about the ways that we tell our children that we love them. And because we don't always tell our children with words. Mm-hmm. We tell them somehow, or sometimes, and usually by the actions. And so it's all about that.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to that, and we look forward to you coming back on and letting us know about the book.
Sure, I'd love that.
We've had a great time speaking to the author of the debut picture book, The Tiniest Little Star, and the author is Cynthia Jensen. Cynthia, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate it.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be the author of Once Upon a Spacetime. His name is Jeffrey Brown. It's a wonderful, wonderful graphic novel that you're just going to love finding out about. That's the next episode of the podcast. If you are the author of a great children's book, we would love to have you as a guest on the podcast. Being a guest, it's fun, it's easy, and it gives you the chance to tell thousands of people about your fantastic book. All you need to do is to go to our website, readingwithyourkids.com, click on the contact button that you will find at the bottom of the page. Let us know about your great book. We will let you know the next easy steps. I want to thank the people who made today's show so very wonderful. Of course, we want to start by thanking our guest, Cynthia Jensen. Please be sure to check out The Tiniest Little Star. I also want to thank my incredible team, starting with my producer, Fatima Khan. I want to thank my awesome author ambassador, Peggy Cotto. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. I want to thank Augie the doggy for having my back here in the studio, but most of all, I want to thank you. You are the reason we put together, well, you and your kids. That's the reason we put this podcast together. We love you. We are so happy that you spend time with us, and I want to thank you so much for making the world a better place, and you do that every time you read with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.